Good morning, everyone. 17 minutes after the hour. Welcome to the Sunrise Show. So glad you're tuned in this morning. Craig Froenken is your host, and want to welcome onto the program Reba Dominsky. She's a Senior Vice President of Corporate Social Responsibility. She's also the Foundation President and the Community Possible Relay. This is an amazing project, ladies and gentlemen. U.S. Bank had taken it on. They want to inspire volunteerism across this country. They've taken it a 3-month, 12,000-mile, 38-city, 25-state cross-country journey, and the bus is here in Medford this morning at the Restore location down at Habitat for Humanity, and I want to welcome Reba Dominsky. Miss Reba, thanks so much for being on the program this morning.
Thank you, Craig. It's an honor to be connecting with you in the Medford community this morning.
Well, it's really exciting. So the bus, I mean, you're going all over. Talk about this tour. I mean, this bus is down there, but what they're going to be doing as far as inspiring volunteer, and I've seen this. I've seen this throughout what I've been doing, both whether it's school-based or whether it's soccer or Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts. I've watched the volunteerism, and it's only a core group of folks. Talk about what's happened, what you've seen with this volunteerism issue in America.
Sure. So I'll start by saying that earlier this year at U.S. Bank, we introduced a new corporate giving and engagement platform. It's called Community Possible, and it focuses on 3 central themes: work, home, and play. And Craig, if you think about it, the building blocks that made America great, a stable job, a home to call your own, communities that are connected through the arts, through the recreation, and through play are really at the heart of possibility for all of us. But we have noticed exactly what you're saying, which is it doesn't seem like the same spirit of service and volunteerism that was essential to helping our country become the great country that it is as present as it used to be. So we came up with a way to launch this Community Possible platform in a really big and memorable way, and our goal is really to do things ourselves, but then also inspire others to get engaged in their local community. So we decided to do something at U.S. Bank that's never been done before. It's a volunteer relay. So you can think of it as a wave of volunteerism that spreads across the country. And of course, a concept this unique had to have a very unique symbol. And if you or your listeners head out to the Habitat for Humanity Restore today, it's 2233 South Pacific Highway, you can see that symbol yourself. It's a giant mobile baton. So it's a giant executive coach bus. It's wrapped in U.S. Bank blue. It shows all of the cities that we're going to across the country, kind of like an old concert tour T-shirt. And we encourage you and your listeners to check it out and to get involved in the events that we're doing at that Restore project in Medford.
So it's going to be parked there at the Habitat for Humanity store down there all day today from 8 to 5. It's on right now, right?
That's right. And we've got a couple special celebrity guests that you can meet. We have a fantastic driver of our mobile baton. His name is John. And we have 2 awesome U.S. Bank employees that are taking what we call the road trip of a lifetime. Their names are Dixie and Jabril, and they are traveling with this mobile baton across the country. As you said, 12,000 miles over 3 months, 38 communities. And during that 3-month journey, our 2 relay captains will be joining local bank volunteers in activities connected to work readiness, job training, financial education, home building and rehabilitation. Habitat is one of our great partners in that work, as well as supporting access to the arts and recreation for underserved communities. So if you go out to the mobile baton today, you can get your picture taken with the baton. You can get inside and see how we've kind of tricked out the interior of this mobile baton. It's a lot of fun, and I encourage you guys to stop by. We're also doing a big volunteer project today, really trying to refurbish that Rogue Valley Restore location.
We're speaking with Reba Dominsky. She's the Senior Vice President of Corporate Social Responsibility at U.S. Bank, also the Foundation President, and calling from the great state of Minnesota. And you can get on to the website. Of course, it's the U.S. Bank launches Community Possible Relay. And if you get to stories.usbank.com, that's there. Also, if you hashtag Community Possible, you can pick all that up. And then, of course, on Facebook as well. Reba, what have you seen? I mean, obviously, Americans keeping the hope alive and doing something bigger than yourself. I think, selfishness plays a part, people being desperate, and then you've got this selfishness piece. And when you reach out of yourselves, that's when you really realize that when you're a big team, you can do much more.
Yeah, I think that's so true. I love technology. I'm kind of a technology geek, but I think sometimes with the iPad and the iPhone, we've lost a little bit of the we that has made our country great. This country was founded on the common good, and especially today with the political environment that we're in, it's hard sometimes to see that common good on a grand scale, but I will tell you, through the Community Possible Relay at U.S. Bank, I am seeing it every single day. I am seeing small gestures, one community member to another, getting somebody a glass of water, planting in their garden, painting a wall, giving them tickets to a sporting event or an arts event that they wouldn't be able to attend on their own. There are so many small gestures that happen from person to person across this country that I think are really about the common good. And I know Medford and I know the community there is strong and that people care about each other. So by coming out and seeing the Community Possible mobile baton or participating in our event today, that's one way you can engage. But what we really want to do is inspire people to give and serve all day long. So for you or any of your listeners who can't come to today's event, just get out and make a difference in the Medford community. Volunteer or serve in a way that matters to you, in a cause that matters to you, and then share your story on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, on Snapchat, and hashtag it Community Possible, and you become part of our story. We want to inspire 153,000 volunteers nationwide, 1,000 people for each year of U.S. Bank's history. And you don't have to be part of the event at Habitat today to be part of that story.
I wondered, where are we in the tour? And then you just explained the answer to my next question was that 153,000 volunteers. Why the 153? But that's because U.S. Bank has been in business for 153 years.
That's right.
So where are we in the tour? I mean, starting, of course, coming out of Minneapolis, but this is amazing when you're talking Medford's on the map. And 25 states, 38 communities. What have you seen so far, and where are we in that whole tour?
Yeah, you're in the first leg, I would say, of the tour. So we started out actually in Orange County, at the Orange County Marathon, because we thought, what better way to launch a relay than at a marathon, right? And so we started out in Orange County. We've been in Las Vegas, Phoenix, Denver, Cheyenne, Salt Lake City, Reno, Sacramento, San Francisco, and this week is our Oregon week. So we'll be in Medford today, we'll be in Eugene tomorrow, and then we'll be in Portland towards the end of the week. And then we head out to Seattle, Washington, and then across the rest of the country. We actually end the relay in the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul. We are building a pretty big stadium right down the road from my office, the U.S. Bank Stadium, in partnership with the Minnesota Vikings. Go Vikings. And so we're going to end in July around the stadium opening, where we're really going to highlight a lot of our work around play and places to play.
It's interesting, volunteerism, and I know exactly. I've been in the volunteer group, and when you're there, it seems like there's a core of folks that continue to do all the work, and then getting other folks to help out. And you know what happens, Ms. Reba, is that folks don't have the wherewithal. They say they'll do something and then they don't do it. And the problem is you've got somebody looking right at you and say, yes, okay, I'll do that. And then they don't follow through on their word. And there's that problem of honor and integrity and respect and trust and all those type of things. And I worry sometimes that those values are going away unless you can get somebody to say, hey, me and my buddy will do it, and they kind of stick together.
That's right. I say a lot in my job. Half of my job is just showing up. And, people have busy lives, right? We have complicated lives. So I understand why people sometimes miss out on those opportunities or say they're going to do something and they can't. But your suggestion, I think, is an excellent one, Craig, is if you do it with a team of people. For anybody out there whose parents, I have a 16-year-old daughter and a 14-year-old son, involve your kids. Because if you're involving your kids and your friends or your family or your local community, if one person drops out, it's probably okay, but the bulk of the people show up. And I think especially for kids, if we want the next generation to embrace this concept of volunteering and service and the common good, we need to show our kids today that it only takes an hour or two and you can have a big impact on someone's lives. And there are so many needy people in communities across the country.
Well, there really is. And so, Reba, we've got to take a break, and then we'll come right back. We've got Reba Dominsky. She's the Senior Vice President of Corporate Social Responsibility Foundation President at U.S. Bank, and the bus is in town today. It's at Restore, right down on South Pacific Highway. It's an incredible bus. I've got to get down there and see it, so after the show, I'll zip down there and cruising around with all the gang. How about that?
That sounds great.
All right, good deal. Let's get to a break and come right back. More in the Sunrise Show on News Radio 880 KCMX. We'll see if you are a volunteer and got what it takes. Just show up, like Reba says. We'll be right back.
So get up. Top of the morning to ya.
Good morning, everyone. 33 minutes after the hour. Welcome back to the Sunrise Show. A little happy stuff that keeps you inspired, makes you thinking that, okay, there is hope in America. And I'm visiting with Reba Dominsky. She's the Senior Vice President of Corporate Social Responsibility for U.S. Bank, calling from the great state of Minnesota, and their website. And it's really amazing. The Community Possible Relay, they are on a bus tour right now, 38 cities, and they're 12,000 miles, and they are in Medford down at the Restore location on South Pacific Highway. And Reba, thanks for joining us. You know, we've been talking about what Restore and Habitat for Humanity and the volunteers and what it takes. And, you know, we were talking about the fact just before the break, if people just don't know what to do, they don't know how to get plugged in, and they just, you know, it's a lot of times either selfishness or desperation, but they just don't know. Well, you mentioned this volunteermatch.com. Talk about that, because that is something that anyone can do, whether they're on their phone, iPad, computer, whether they're executive secretary or a business owner, that they can go right to volunteermatch.com. Talk about that.
Yeah, so we have a great partnership at U.S. Bank with Volunteer Match. It's actually the site that we use for our employees, and our employees at U.S. Bank volunteer a lot, over 200,000 hours last year. And so we hooked them up with Volunteer Match, but anybody can access it. You just type in volunteermatch.com or .org, can't remember which one, and you put in the cause that matters to you. And for so many of us, you know, the cause is really personal. It's something that's impacted us or our families. Craig, you know that the things you care about are generally built on your experience. So you can put in any cause that matters to you, and then you put in your zip code, and you will see literally hundreds of volunteer opportunities that are close to your heart and close to your home. So I encourage your listeners who are struggling with, I want to get involved, but I just don't know what to do, to check out Volunteer Match online.
Yeah, and that's one of the things. That's how U.S. Bank plugged in, and then of course this, Community Possible Relay, and I mentioned that before. This hashtag Community Possible. You get all that, and we'll put that out on our Twitter feeds. We've got it also posting on our Facebook page. But this is kind of the boots on the ground, you know. And I said many hands make light work. I've used that phrase a lot. And it's simple if you just get there and show up, and then people will show what to do and how to do, and you actually learn a skill and learn how something works. And, these folks are heroes as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and the great thing about Habitat, I don't know if you've done an event with Habitat, but you can physically see the impact of your work. We have a U.S. Bank employee named Sherry Schmelzer who's very active on the Family Services Committee for Habitat. They select the families to receive the Habitat homes. Sherry has personally mentored 6 families who have received homes, and every 4th of July, the families invite Sherry over to take turns hosting her for the festivities. And last year, Sherry went to El Salvador on a Habitat build. So, you may go to a Habitat event or another event and spend a couple of hours and really be inspired. You can see the impact of your work. You can see the difference that you're making on people. I have 2 kids, and whenever they have a hard day at school or a hard day in life, I say to them, what can we do? How can we give? How can we serve others? Because nothing makes you feel better than lending a hand to somebody else in need. Exactly. And, just once again, the opportunities are there. It's just getting plugged in. And we talk about that a lot of time. We get so busy. We're creatures of habit. I mean, that's ultimately what we are. Even me. It's like, wait a minute. I don't want to go right now because I was planning on doing this. So it's so funny sometimes when you hear yourself talk. It's like,
Craig, open your mind and just go for it, right? You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. That's that self-talk kind of thing. We're visiting with Reba Dominsky. She's the foundation president. Talk about that, Reba, for U.S. Bank. With the foundation president, the foundation, is this U.S. Bank Foundation? Talk about the foundation a little bit.
Sure. So our U.S. Bank Foundation is really built off of that Community Possible platform that I mentioned. Last year we gave away $25 million in grants focused on work, home, and play in communities across the country. And I do want to share that our foundation, while it's managed out of Minneapolis, our headquarters market in Minnesota, all of our giving is local. So in every local community where U.S. Bank is, we are giving away foundation grants. And we focus on work, home, and play because we know those are the building blocks that really made this country great. Small business development, workforce readiness, making sure kids are ready for college and career, making sure people can stay in the homes that they've worked so hard to afford and that there is affordable housing in communities. And then the concept of play we're having a lot of fun with because we really believe and we know that communities are stronger when they're connected by the arts, they're connected by recreation and play. And so that is what our foundation focuses on. And again, we're very local. So in Medford, we give local grants to organizations that support work, home, and play.
Very good, very good. All right, now the bus is in town. This is a unique opportunity. They just opened up the doors down at the Restore facility on South Pacific Highway. They're going to be there from 8 to 5 today. Beautiful, gleaming bus, and of course, funded U.S. Bank. And what they're doing down there, but they're touring all throughout the country. It's a 38-city tour, 25 states, 12,000 miles, and just a matter of getting plugged in, saying hello. Stop by the Restore site down there, Habitat for Humanity, and they do some incredible work. And just helping folks, not so much a handout, but a hand up. And I've always said, Reba, is that we're all in this together. You might feel disconnected. You might be politically on the left or the right, but Dr. Ben Carson said it perfectly once. He said, we're all in this ship, and you can't sink the other side of the ship and then run to the other side. We're all in this boat together, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. And one of my favorite quotes is a quote from Dorothy Day. And the quote goes like this: "People say, what is the sense of our small effort? They cannot see that we must lay one brick at a time, take one step at a time. A pebble cast into a pond causes ripples that spread in all directions." And that's really what we're trying to do at U.S. Bank through the Community Possible Relay, is just throw a pebble into every community that we live and work in to try to create a ripple effect. So hopefully the baton, hopefully the relay, and our fabulous talent in Dixie and Jabril will inspire you, Craig, and your listeners to get involved in the Medford community and really work to make a difference. We're there for a day or two, but this is where you live and where you work. This is the community where you grow, where you're going to raise children and families for generations. So again, this is a pebble in the pond and a challenge, I guess, to everybody that's listening to figure out how they can get involved and get engaged and make a difference in your Medford community. And when you do, just hashtag Community Possible, and you'll see how this is going in communities across the country, and you can be part of something bigger than yourself.
Very good, Reba. That's great. And, I'm going to challenge myself. I'm going to get off the air, and I'll give myself an hour, and then I'll get down to the Restore location and see if I can't get down there and stir it up a little bit. What do you think?
I think that's great, Craig. I know they would be happy to have you, and they'll give you a tour of the bus, and we would love to have you there.
Very good, very good. Reba, thanks for your time this morning. She's the foundation president of U.S. Bank and senior vice president of corporate social responsibility, and they've started a Community Possible Relay. This is a 3-month, 12,000-mile, 38-city, 25-state cross-country journey, and they're inspiring individuals. The bus is parked down there at the Restore Habitat for Humanity store down there all day today from 8 to 5. And Reba, it's great timing. Thanks so much for your time this morning. And e pluribus unum, that's on all of our money. It's a Latin phrase, e pluribus unum, out of many, one. And once again, that's it. And it's just a matter of doing something great for someone else. And we could get into all kinds of other things, but Reba, it's great to have you on this morning.
Thank you so much, Craig.
All right, have a great day from the great state of Minnesota, Reba Dominsky.
Thanks so much, Craig. Have a great day.
All right, we'll be right back. We got another break to get to, and then we'll will continue. ABC Sports, a couple of minutes away. Oh, and you won't believe, what was that? What was that? Not only did they have the high school there in Ontario that couldn't spell their diploma right, couldn't spell the word school, but now is this wristband helping you break bad habits with electric shocks. I'll tell you about that when we come up. You wonder, okay, how many of those do I need to buy for all my friends? All right. More on the Sunrise Show. We return on News Radio